Hello and welcome to the Pétanque Show with me, David Plumhoff. Before I begin today's show, I just want to say how grateful and how thankful I am for all the support I've had for the Pétanque Show in recent weeks. It really has been overwhelming. I'm very humbled. The GoFundMe page, I wasn't expecting to hit the targets I've hit, but your generosity has been absolutely fantastic. And also, don't forget to like, share and comment on the new competition to win a Carolina Crappard jacket. They're really nice. I've got one, so I know how nice they are. And also, everyone who has joined in the competition will get a code to get 20% off any of their items up until the end of January. So that should help you out as well. Anyway, let's get on with today's show. Today, I'm delighted to welcome men's national squad player Reece Gould. Reece has had an incredible couple of years, rising high up the rankings and securing his spot in the top 6 players in England. So today, I welcome Reece. Hello, Reece.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad.
I see you wearing your England shirt there.
Yeah, I thought I'd stick it on.
No,
show everyone.
No, fantastic. No, you should. It's always it's a proud moment to play for your country, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It is, and I think I know I'm wearing it at home, but wearing the top always makes you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Okay, then. So let's start then with the men's squad because that's what I've just introduced you as. Can you tell me a bit about the squad? Who's in the squad?
Okay, yeah. So obviously this is trickling on from last year as well. So the 2019-2020 squad consisted of Roland Jones, Jason White, myself, Sam Blakey, Ross Jones, and Jeremy Huntley.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. And so what happens in the squad? Do you guys do you play together in all competitions? How does it work?
So initially we played together in a lot of competitions. We played abroad as well. We went to Zeist and played in different combinations, which was brilliant. Obviously, we had a lot more planned for this year to play together. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we haven't been able to. But we have had discussions about how we're going to go forward and see what we can do as a squad because we are still the national squad. But aside from that, the main point was to play the European Championships in Bulgaria, which we did.
We will come on to that in a bit.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, that was the main objective of the squad and why we were selected. So
So who decides who plays with who then? Is there someone that oversees the squad? Is there a coach, a manager?
We have Martin. Martin is basically our team coach, and he will travel with us, and we speak to him on a regular basis. We discuss not only with Martin but amongst ourselves how we want to structure our teams if we're playing a competition, which combinations we're going to play. It seems like it kind of starts morphing into you find good combinations. We kind of feel like, well, me personally, I feel like we've kind of found that quite quickly. Sam and Jason, very successful together. Me and Roland, the same. But we're all really strong together in the squad. So it's quite a difficult job for Martin, really, initially to choose who plays with who effectively. But no, it's kind of like a rolling discussion we always have before we play together. And yeah, we work it out and go out and do our best from there.
Yeah, you talked about structure there and how the team works together. How was it, or how is it being put together with people that, I'm not saying you wouldn't necessarily play with these players, because I know you have played with obviously Sam and Jeremy as well, and but obviously Jason and Rolly are from a different region. What's it like coming into that? Were you nervous about it, or was it quite all right?
To be honest, I've always liked playing with different people. I do enjoy to, just try and take something from someone else, try and learn something. So I'm not a nervous person either. So I was never really nervous to go and play with them. I did know them before, but obviously not in a real competitive capacity playing together.
Yeah,
But as soon as you're a squad and you're together, you're traveling, it's just brilliant. And it may be different with other people, and it might just be Jason and Roland and all the boys are just, we're just close friends. But playing and traveling with Roland and Jason, as per your question, they were brilliant. Supportive, good friends straight away. It just felt really, really easy to click with them, and they're both lovely, just like all the rest of the boys.
Yeah. Do you feel like that togetherness and that bond is continually to get stronger? Is it such an important part, do you think, of playing as a team?
I think it's probably one of the most important parts. I watched one of your podcasts with Sean, and he spoke about, obviously he talks about the mental side of the game, and he spoke about togetherness and being comfortable, things like that. We all have ability. The players in this country, what they can achieve. And it's about how do we take that one step higher. And I feel like a squad, for me personally, is so important and effective if it has some kind of longevity to it. The more I've played with Roland, the better we've got. The same with all the other boys. Any combination we play, you feel strength going on, week after week, competition after competition. So, and that's really apparent when you are in a squad. It may be quite hard to see looking through the window into it, but when you're in that situation, you don't realize how much that affects play and mental state as well, especially if it's competing abroad. That's a big step that some people aren't always ready for, myself included. Absolutely. So that togetherness is very, very important in my eyes anyway.
Do you feel like when you, because obviously you had to finish in the top 6, didn't you, in 2019 to get into the squad? Do you feel like being in the squad has, like, being known as the national squad as it is, has that elevated you? Has that made you feel better? Has that brought out the best in you?
100%. For me personally, my goal for the previous God knows how many years was to play for England. That's always been my goal. And that's the highest finish I've ever had. I finished 6th, which I know might sound crazy to some people, but in my head, I was slightly disappointed to be 6th. I felt like that year I could have done better. But yeah, it's definitely...
You met your goal, didn't you?
That's the exactly. Main thing. I achieved my goal, just not to the highest bracket. But it definitely has elevated my play. I don't know whether I would have played with Roland if I hadn't made the squad, and we went out in the national doubles and made the finals, which is again the best finish I've ever had. And the same with the singles, I made the final as well, which is the best I've ever done. So it's definitely added something to my play. It's definitely given me a boost of confidence, which I feel like a few years ago I didn't really have. So yeah, I feel like it's helped me find my footsteps in the top part of the game. Just see if I can keep going.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So what about in terms of I've lost my train of thought here. What about in terms of players getting the best out of you? So you spoke a lot there about Rowley, and I know through playing with Rowley just what he's like for getting in your head and making you believe in yourself. But what can you take from the other players in the squad? Players like, you've obviously played with Jeremy, Sam. What do they give you? How do they make you feel when you play with them?
To be fair, they're all brilliant in their own unique way. I would go through them one by one, but I'll just give you some examples. I've known Sam for my whole life. I've known Ross for a massive portion of my life. Realistically, the same with Jeremy. And they're all brilliant to play. They all bring out different aspects of the game. Sam is very animated, and you can tell when he's upset, and you want to do better for him, and it's a mutual respect there. The same with Ross. He's very gritty. He likes to grind games out, even if things are going bad. That shot is always just as important as the last. And Jeremy, so supportive, brilliant player, and he's always giving you, tips, advice, help during the game, which is brilliant. And all those boys have those aspects. And yeah, I just feel like, because I think we've played together for a whole year, on and off, you really get to know them as well. So you know what makes them tick, and how badly they want to win. And going back to that togetherness thing, you start playing not just for yourself, but you start playing for your teammates a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all those boys have those qualities, and I suppose that's why we're together in the top leagues at the moment.
Yeah, so you all complement each other, which is great, because obviously there's nothing worse than being a squad but not having that, having cliques and stuff like that. So it's really great to hear that. What about you as a player? I mean, I know I spoke a bit just a minute ago about how it's elevated you, but what about maturity? As it improved your, you've become more mature, you've been more professional, you're training harder. Do you feel like being in that squad has just really, really made you want it even more?
100%. I'm the first one to always admit my own failures and disappointments, and I always used to get very disappointed in myself, because I used to be so, I want to say the word angry, but I was immature on the pitch. I used to really take my game for granted, and there were so many faults with not only my play, because obviously I've got better with my play, but my mental attitude. And I feel like, the last couple of years getting towards where I am, you just naturally mature. You're playing against players who you're not laughing and joking with them. And it's a very serious affair, especially Bulgaria. I know we will go on to that, but that was my first tournament. And the difference it's stark. It's night and day. And you it's not like playing in a league game down here, having a laugh and a joke with someone. So yeah, it's definitely matured me as a player. I definitely hold a lot more back now on the pitch, and just focus on specific things to win the game. That's my ultimate goal. And I'm still working on it, obviously, but it's definitely got a lot better. I'm sure loads of people are going to watch this and think back to what I was like, when I was a bit younger. So yeah, but to answer your question, definitely element.
Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about then your trip to Bulgaria. Now, leading up to that, you obviously got in the top 6, and then only 4 players didn't go. Who decided who went, and how did you feel when you got picked?
So I was very pessimistic about being selected.
Is that because you finished 6th? Is that why?
Yeah, finishing 6th. Obviously, I'm sure everyone will be exactly the same. In your own mind, you've put yourself last place for selection. However, sometimes, like as well as me, rankings don't fully showcase who's playing the best, who's playing the worst. So obviously Martin and the MPP made a selection, and I think that involved other people like Joe Sheffield. He took notes during the rankings. I remember being in Nottingham. Yeah, it was Nottingham actually, and he was taking notes and statistics on our game. There was another triples up in Leicester Banks, and he'd done the same. So I think they did take some statistical analysis.
Yeah, some performance data.
Yeah, and put that into the selection criteria, which worked well in my favour, as I won the Leicester Banks event and I won the Nottingham event.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, maybe slightly lucky there, but yeah, I mean, when you're finishing in that six, you've always got a chance to be selected. So all I could do at that time was, cross my fingers, keep practicing, keep trying to prove that I'm, ready for international play. And yeah, thank God that I was selected and managed to go to Bulgaria.
So did you get a phone call then from Martin? Was that how it worked?
Yeah, yeah. So
How did you feel? Were you literally elated?
I was over the moon. I'm probably going to sound like a broken record throughout this, but for the past few years, I've really tried to break into that top section, and it's very difficult. It really is. And I know a lot of other players will be going through that process now or have gone through that process in the past. And when you finally reach that stage where you are selected to go to the international event, that is a feeling like you'll never feel in your life. So
Yeah.
I was absolutely over the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. So who was the squad in the end? Who went to Bulgaria?
It was me, Roland, Jason, and Mr. Sam Blakey.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Very good team. Very good team. Was there any how did Ross and Jeremy take it? Were they? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I did speak to them both, in bits, and you do feel really bad and sorry for players who don't make the cut. Obviously, this was the first time I'd even been in the running. You do feel bad, but at the same time, as much as they're both my very good friends, I'd always want myself to be chosen. So unfortunately, when it gets to there, it's
Someone's got to miss out, haven't they? Unfortunately,
it's dog eat dog, and I'm not saying that I did anything, to make myself be selected. It was all done on, a level playing field. Martin watched games and other people watched games, and it was selected from there. So I'm glad there wasn't any animosity.
Yeah.
Both Ross and Jeremy, I think, were more than capable to go 100%. Yeah, it's just one of them horrible things where you could either have a top four who just then go, or you might give yourself a bit of leeway with top six, and unfortunately, some people have to miss out.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes. But I'm sure they gave you all their support, so that's the main thing.
Exactly, and they're still very close friends, and I know for a fact that they're not going to stop playing, and they're not going to not play internationally again, because they will. They're good players, so I'm sure next year or the year after it's coming.
So you went to Bulgaria. Did you go to Bulgaria as a shooter or a middle, or what was your role in the team?
I think I was more a middle player, but I think the kind of thought process was to have a backup shooting option. As for the year we played and when we were selected, it was kind of my first year playing top level as a shooter, out and out. That's what I've been playing. So kind of off of that, I went as a backup shooter, but I didn't play shot when I was out there. I played middle, and I think I probably went into shot a few times in a few games, but my primary role was to be backup shooter. But yeah, it's quite a strange dynamic when you have players who are good in each position. Roland can shoot and point and middle. Jason, he is an out-and-out shooter, but can quite easily middle. He's a great pointer too. Even Sam at times. That's what I mean. At that top bit, it's strange. You can put anyone anywhere. So
yeah, combinations are there, aren't they?
Yeah.
So how did you do in Bulgaria? Can you go through the games? Do you remember how you did and what happened? How you performed?
Okay, so
were you nervous?
I was extremely nervous. Like I said earlier, it was my first championship. I played for Baldock Town abroad, but you know, you've got such a massive team there. You've got the likes of Matt and Johnny and Phil and Jamie, all these people who make you feel comfortable. It doesn't matter. You could be held at gunpoint and they'll make you feel comfortable. But when you're there, you know, I felt a lot of expectation coming in as well. Ranked 6, got picked. I felt like I really had to prove, you know, that I was justified selection. So yeah, it was really nerve-wracking. And I remember turning up and we couldn't practice on the pitches either. It's just an international rule that they're not played on the night before competition starts. So I didn't know what the pitches were like. And I remember the following day going to the pitches, throwing a few ball, and they basically in an indoor arena, they have like rubber floor, but they line the top with carpet and then they throw dust and then stone on top. So it looks really nice and flat, and you think, okay, this looks
bouncy.
all right. Yeah, that's the thing. So I'd say like 1 in 4, 1 in 5 ball, if you're lobbing in the air, they will hit a weak spot and they will bounce almost half the lob back up and go in any direction. So that really threw a spanner in the works as well.
Did they wet the pitch? Because I know when I went, they were watering the pitch, and that's weird. That is playing on when you're practicing on a dry pitch, and all of a sudden they wet it, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I can't actually remember whether they did spray the pitches down because it was indoors. I don't think they did, but it was really, really strange. I'd never played on a pitch like that, and it was new to me. And yeah, they were funky pitches, let's put it that way. So it really put emphasis on hitting a ball really well, and pointing turned into like an art form, which gives Sam and Roland their dues. They pointed fantastic. Sam really nailed the point on there. You know, I remember one game we were playing against San Marino, and he kind of showed me, right, look, if I land here, it will bounce over those 2 front ball and go on to the cosh. I was thinking, you know, well, go on then, show me, and he just done it perfectly. And I was like, oh, blimey. But that's what it was like. It was like you had to pick your spot to be able to bounce over something, or you couldn't throw with any spin either way. It just wouldn't have taken it. So it was really strange. You know those games where you kind of play down the same lane and you end up with walls built in front of the cosh. It's kind of like that quite a lot. Some of the pitches were a little bit thinner, but like as you asked in your question, the how we done.
Well, how did you do? You know, how did you play? Because I imagine that, I know for experience, and this isn't about me anyway, it's about you, but I know for experience that going to your first championships like that, not only do you put expectation on yourself, you've got nerves, your teammates are probably they've seen how you've played with them or in the qualifiers to get there, and then you almost freeze. It's very difficult. And I can imagine even Jason had experience with Espoirs and that of being there. Rowley's obviously gone a few times and Sam's been before, but you were literally going in it raw. And I know from my experience that's a very hard thing to do. But you do come out of it a lot better.
It is really difficult. Like you know, I said that I'm not really a nervous person, and I'm not in most least of life. But going there, it was nerve-wracking. I was more. It was more the expectation of me.
Well, you realise the magnitude of what you've done, don't you? When you see all the top players there, it's unbelievable.
You know, you see the likes of Rizzi and Alessio, and then you look over and you see Bonetto shooting, and then you look the other way, you see Claudie and John Merchandise, and you think, you know, I've watched these players on videos. You see clips of them online. This is the top, you know. There isn't, you know, better players out there. These are the ones who've made it from their country. So yeah, you do start the ball rolling and start thinking, oh bloody hell. But after a little while, you know, after half a day of being there, playing, you start settling in, and you just want to start playing well, and then you start rolling on to the games and how you're playing rather than the nervousness of where you are. So yeah, it is a lot to take in.
Tell people who probably don't know how tiring it is.
Yeah, so
you are up early, and sometimes you're waiting an hour or 2 hours between a game, and you don't get back to your bed till gone 10. Oh,
yeah, it's a lot more than
mentally as well.
So you get there, you have your team meal and whatever, and you go to bed. You wake up very early. It's usually like we're downstairs for breakfast at 7:00. You have your breakfast, you go and practice a bit, make sure you know what games you're playing for the day, look at the terrain, talk with your coach, and then you play all day. And whether you're on or off the pitch, your mind's always ticking about who you're playing next, how you're playing, what you need to do to win the next game if you lost the last game. And like you say, you have big gaps as well. And then once you finish, you don't even realize the time is it's so late in the evening. You go and have some food, and you're done, and you just go to bed again. It's kind of like work. So, but it's brilliant. I wouldn't change it. But
oh yeah, absolutely. You almost live in your kit, don't you, for about 3 days?
Yeah, well, we had 3 shirts, and all of mine stunk. So
I know that feeling. But yeah, that's one thing that I don't think people, when you watch it, it's something that I learned, because I've been opinionated before in the past about teams going to Worlds and Euros and thinking, oh, how did they lose out, or why did they not do that? But until you go and you realise just the capacity of it all and taking it all in, just how much goes into it, it is absolutely draining physically and mentally.
Yeah, it really is. And like I'll bring it up again. It's everyone who goes to these things. I know it's not just me. The feeling of expectation. You feel like people are watching the streams at home, judging, and obviously we know that the support is there, but it's an unescapable thing. You always feel like you have to prove you're right to be there. So it is mentally draining more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you remember your best performance of the tournament?
There's a couple of moments where things could have gone slightly different. In our first game, it was a very close game. I think it was our first game. Anyway, I subbed in quite late in the game, and really unfortunately, I came in and I spot carrowed a ball, and it kind of changed the end, and they had 1 ball left, and they decided right next to the cosh and the ball, they just rested my spot carrow, and I had 1 ball left and they were on 12, and pointing was so difficult. It was a really tall challenge, but that game could have gone slightly different. But I think probably my best performance, even though we ended up losing the game, was we played Portugal. I know that the Portuguese
Hugo
Dores, and
Mario,
he's a very good shooter.
Yeah.
He actually medalled, I think, in the.
Yeah, he did. I think at the Euros I was at. I think.
Yeah, so he medalled at this Euros too. I don't know whether it was bronze or silver or something. But yeah, very good. And we had a really close game with them, and that was in the semi-final of the Coupe. So they're quite a strong team to be.
Yeah.
In the Coupe. But I think we played really well, and it was quite a tactical game, and it just came down to a few ball difference in an end, which changed it. But I feel like that was probably my best performance.
Yeah, but that just shows you how good the teams are when you're playing Portugal in the Coupe des Nations.
Yeah, they're a strong team, and they went on to play Monaco in the final.
Yeah, exactly. That's mad, isn't it?
Because I know as well, sometimes when you sit back here and you think, if you don't make the championship, you think, oh, you're playing against the more pony nations. It's not like that. It's really not. They're still very good teams. Monaco's a brilliant team. Portugal's a brilliant team. You could meet them at any stage in the competition and know you've got a serious game on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like you've learned a lot from that tournament, and I'm sure you can take a lot out of it into your next championship, because I believe the squad will be staying together and being picked for the Europeans. Is it in June? Is that right?
Well, yeah. I don't even know if I'm supposed to, talk about what we spoke in the meeting, but I'm pretty sure we are.
No, Martin. In my interview with Martin, he did say the squad, more than likely, the squad will be kept. The men's squad will be kept the same we'll be picking from the six for the Euros, and then the Worlds, which is later in the year, will be from the ranking. So there's effectively still something to play for everyone.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff to play for everyone. The fresh rankings will reset and give people an international event. But obviously, the squad that we were selected into was supposed to be for the
2020
European Bulgaria, and then the World Championships in 2020 in Switzerland. So that event is still on, because I think you just said that the current squad would go to Europeans and the fresh squad would go to Worlds.
Is it the other way? Is it?
I think it's the other way. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Worlds is sooner than the Europeans.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it must be Worlds then. Yeah, I knew whatever one was sooner. Martin said that the squad will probably go to that one. I just can't remember what order it was in.
Yeah, it is a shame, because it's quite unlikely that anything's going to be back to normal anytime soon. So all we can really do at the moment is cross our fingers and hope that they still go
ahead.
Yeah, because obviously traveling abroad, all these new
testing, everything.
All these new restrictions, they make things very logistically difficult. I'm happy to travel wherever at the moment, but it's making sure you're safe and making sure everyone else is safe. That's the main priority. So
yeah, absolutely, Reece. So let's move on then from the Worlds. I just want to we touched on earlier about the importance of togetherness and camaraderie. Let's have a little chat about Baldock Town. About you. How long have you played for Baldock Town? 5 years, is it?
Yeah, so I think this is my 5th year. Yeah,
and one thing I've always drummed into people when they talk about selection or things like that is how important, in my opinion, being in the team that you get on with and the ethics of the team and the togetherness of it is so important. And I came into the Baldock Town team in 2019, and I heard rumours about how great it was playing as a squad in such an event, and it really is unbelievable. So, what have you taken out of Baldock Town? Can you explain to the watchers, the viewers, just what it's like?
Yeah, so I'll never forget when I was asked to join Baldock Town. Phil Winston put his arm around me at the dinner dance, and he said, "Reece, we want you in the team," and I said yeah, and never looked back since. Everyone who plays for that team, they're just brilliant. They are like what we call Pétanque family. I've travelled year on year with these guys and all around the country, and it's very difficult to put into words how brilliant it is to be part of a squad like Baldock Town. Everyone is so supportive, so determined, so professional, and it just makes your experience playing pétanque just tenfold. It really takes you to this new dimension that you didn't think existed. And I'd really credit Baldock Town and everyone in it for progressing myself as a player, because really that's where I started the international circuit, going to Belgium, normally Waterloo. We've been there a few times, and Metz, and that was really where it started for me, and learning the pressure and what it entails. But yeah, what a great team to be a part of, and I love them all.
Just a bit on Johnny Sewell as manager. I mean, I've played in the game for years and I've coached football and that, but I think the job that Johnny does with us in that squad is unbelievable. I don't think for someone, he never plays, like, so he's not, you know, he doesn't play plays any of the games, but how he manages that squad to keep everyone happy, especially players like Jamie, and no disrespect to Jamie, but Jamie, you know, he doesn't get a lot of game time, but to keep everyone happy and to keep everyone ticking over is just unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a great manager, and he definitely deserves any praise that he gets. You know, he makes it seem seamless to not upset people and to play teams that end up winning.
Yeah, capability. Yeah,
you know, it's and I can imagine it being very tactical. You know, he has to talk to a lot of the team, mostly Matt and Phil, because you know they're old heads. They've got some serious experience behind them. But you know, the way that Johnny operates is brilliant, and he seems to always have this kind of winning formula. You know, he's like a mad scientist, and he's got a great team to choose from as well. You know, add in new additions like yourself and Sam, and we've got Jack and Sarah. They're obviously you guys are the newest players. You look what he's got to select from. I mean, I wouldn't want that job.
No. But what I love about Johnny is it doesn't matter if you're on the pitch or off the pitch, or if you come off in a game where you have to go on, you never ever feel unhappy. You don't feel like that. Like, I've played in teams of 4 where I've gone off, where I feel like, well, I shouldn't be going off here. That's wrong. That you're just doing that because of your ego. But Johnny manages our ego, so to speak, because we do have egos. That's just a fact of sport. But he manages it, and he creates an environment where all we're thinking about is each other. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly like you just said. It's not, there isn't singular players in the team. It's very much so we're playing for each other, and we're playing as one unit to reach the ultimate goal of winning the round. It's not like other competitions either. You know, you have multiple games you have to win to accrue your points to then secure the round. So it's not just about yourself, or it's not even just about one team winning an important game. It's about everyone being able to accrue those points to, you know, even if we win the round by 1 point, it doesn't matter. It's all about tipping us over that edge. And like you say, that's what Johnny achieves, and seems to be working. I mean, we've gone strength on strength each year.
We're currently ranked 6th in Europe, which is unbelievable, really, for a British club, English club.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember playing against Luxembourg, who we played against in the finals last year. I remember playing against them a couple of years ago in Waterloo, and you know, watching them play and thinking, blimey, they're very good players. They've got players like Marcel and you know, Tivo, and Matt will know this joke. A guy I called Morgan. But they're really good players, and you'll see them a lot, like in international circuit as well. But then when we played against them last year, and
3 points in it.
Yeah, you was there, and how close those games were, and how close we were. I think
five games we lost to double figures.
Yeah, so that and that kind of shows, you know, that there wasn't nerves there for any of us. It was a relaxed environment, and we just wanted to go and win.
We're getting so used to it, aren't we, to that environment?
And that is the whole point of it, is the more we go and play in events like that, the more you're desensitized to it. It doesn't bother you. You just want to win. And that's definitely something which Baldock Town has helped me personally improve on. Now, you know, when I go, I might be nervous the first few ball that I throw.
Yeah.
But after that, you know, I'm straight settled in, and all I want is to win.
Yeah, you feel like you belong there.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I can play with anyone from that squad as well and be happy. So
yeah, absolutely. Before we finish, there's just a couple of things I want to go through. You're obviously a very talented player. You've had an incredible couple of years. But you are now sponsored, aren't you? So you're a sponsored player. There's a few players in England that are starting to get that recognition, and you're one of them. Did you want to say anything about your sponsor and who they are and what they give you?
Yeah, okay. So I'm currently sponsored by Adam Harper at Macron Store, Hertfordshire. He provides me with kit every year. He'll help me in any capacity that I need, really, as long as I'm sharing the sponsorship on my clothing. Exactly. And he is someone who, believe it or not, actually reached out to me personally. Obviously we are friends. I've known him for a long time, but he did reach out to me and said about how he's interested in breaking into different sports. He does stuff like rollerblading hockey, quite niche stuff, but so he's very interested in getting involved with Pétanque. He's obviously starting to do the international kits, which is great, and specifically on the Macron Store Hertfordshire website will be an online shop. Obviously Macron has multiple factions all over the country, but they actually operate as like single entities.
Franchises, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll put on the when I post this, I will put a link to the website anyway, so people can have a look.
Yeah, definitely. And if anyone has got any questions, they're more than welcome to contact me or even Adam through the website directly. He's a friendly guy. He's more than happy to help with anything.
Yeah, he is absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'm wearing one of the tops here, so you can see just how nice they are. So yeah. I recommend him. I recommend him and his store. Absolutely, and, absolutely brilliant.
If you're running a competition or something, that, he's always happy.
He's approachable, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's always happy to look at sponsorship. Giving a voucher for any of the new line clothing that he's got and stuff. He's a very reasonable person. So if you're ever thinking about you want an event sponsored or anything like that, get in touch.
Absolutely. Okay, mate. All right. Well, a new feature I'm going to trial today to end the show with you, Reece. It's just I want to ask 5 questions at the end, which I want to do with all my guests moving forward. There's nothing to worry about. It's just trivial, basically. So I'm going to start with your best venue that you've played at in England and why.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's Arlesey Car Park. I don't even know if I haven't played there for a long time. I don't know whether it's
going, isn't it?
Anymore, but for some reason, I just love it. It's some of the massive rocks in the middle and stuff like that. Maybe because it represents itself to me specifically, or my style specifically, because I'm quite loopy and I shoot ball to ball. So yeah, I don't know why, I just love it, and it's got a bit of character. That's my league team's venue as well. So yeah.
For people watching who have never played there, basically it's like a really uneven car park with shingle on top, but like big shingle, big stones, and it's got rocks indented into the ground, but you can't see at times, and it just makes pointing absolutely mad, but it makes your shooting 100 times better.
Yeah, and it's half on a slant, so the top starts here and the bottom end's down here, so some of the pitches are really downhill, but it's brilliant. I love it.
Absolutely. The second question is the best advice you've ever been given for playing pétanque. It can be recent, it can be years ago, it can be what was a good bit of advice you've had?
To be honest, I don't know specifically, but from what I can remember, I remember people saying to me to mask my emotion on the pitch, and I think that's probably one of the best pieces of advice that I've been given. Don't show anyone your emotion, and they can't feed off of it. So that's something I'm always putting into practice now. But I'd say that's probably the most valuable that I've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is your favourite doubles partner to play with in England? You only say one.
Can I answer this in two parts?
Go on, Em.
Okay, so recently over the last couple of years, it would definitely be Roland.
Yeah.
I feel like he just brings out the best player in me. But in general, overall, it's very difficult. There's a lot of people.
Well, we'll just leave it at Roland. It's fine.
All right.
I'm sure.
There's so many names I could say. Jack Santos, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the biggest competition you've won?
Outside.
It can be a cash comp. It can be a proper comp. Whatever.
Okay. Aside from obviously like ranking events, I would say was probably the British Open.
Yeah. And how much did you win?
I think it was about £1,000. I think split between the three of us, and that was me, Ross, and Sam.
Oh, brilliant! Fantastic. That's a great tournament as well, by the way. If anyone's looking to play it this year.
That. It was brilliant.
And the final question is: you can play with anyone in the world in the triples. Anyone. You can say me as well, but you can say anyone in the world. Who would it be? So it could be anyone in the world. Your dream triples.
Dream triples.
Dream. So you and two others.
Okay. I think it would probably be. It's going to sound really just the same as what everyone else would say, but I think Dylan Rocher is like my ultimate. And then probably Mikel Bonetto as well. I think they're both just mesmerising to watch. So
Rocher will have to point, won't he?
Yeah, I'd stick him in point. Bonetto can middle, and I'll just go out and carry everything.
Absolutely. Well, Reece, we'll leave it there. With your dream triple of Bonetto, Rocher, and yourself. Hopefully, you can get that sorted. Go give Bonetto a cheeky DM now. Thanks for being on the show, mate. I really appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the year. And hopefully, you can do us proud at the Worlds if you get selected. That is.
Thanks for having me, Dave, and carry on with the podcast. They're brilliant, mate.
Okay, thank you, mate. Cheers.
Speak to you later.
Bye-bye.